The conference room sat in complete silence. Director Sarah Chen stood at the far end of the long table, her hands folded behind her back. She looked at the holographic display floating in the center of the room. On the screen, Ambassador Thalrex of the Jurok Empire stared back at her with his 4 yellow eyes. Thalrex belonged to a species that looked like giant insects, covered in dark purple armor. His mouth parts clicked together as he spoke. The sound always made humans uncomfortable, and he knew it. He liked making humans uncomfortable. Director Chen, Thalrex said, his voice translated into English by the communication device. The Galactic Council has made its decision. Humanity has violated the expansion protocols. You have built military stations in areas that we did not approve. This is unacceptable. Sarah said nothing. She simply watched him with dark, calm eyes. Thalrex continued. The Council demands that Earth broadcast a formal apology across all communication channels. You will beg for our mercy. You will ask for our forgiveness. Then within 30 days, you will dismantle 90% of your military fleet. These are our terms. Around the table, other Earth representatives shifted in their seats. Some looked angry. Others looked worried. But Sarah remained perfectly still. We have done this many times before, Thalrex said. His mouth parts moved in what might have been a smile. 63 species have received similar ultimatums. All of them obeyed. Some took longer than others, but they all learned their place eventually. Humanity is not special. You are newcomers. You have been part of the Council for only 50 years. That is nothing. My species has been part of the Council for 4,000 years. Sarah tilted her head slightly. Are you finished, Ambassador? Thalrex's eyes narrowed. You will respond to our demands. The entire Council is waiting for your answer. Will Earth obey, or will Earth face the consequences? Sarah looked at him for a long moment. Then she reached forward and pressed a button on the table. The holographic display flickered and went dark. The connection ended. The room exploded with voices. The other representatives started talking all at once. Sarah raised one hand, and the room fell silent again. Contact all governments, she said quietly. Emergency session, 1 hour. She walked out of the room without another word. 50 light-years away on the Council Central Station, Thalrex stared at the blank screen where Sarah's face had been. Around him, other Council members whispered to each other. Did she just disconnect? One of them asked. Impossible, another said. No species has ever done that before. Thalrex felt something he had not felt in many years. It was not anger, exactly. It was something else. Something he could not quite name. He pushed the feeling aside. It does not matter, he announced. Humanity will respond. They always respond. We will wait 3 days. If they do not apologize by then, we will send the punishment fleet. 1 hour later, every major government on Earth joined a secure video conference. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, and advisors filled dozens of screens. Sarah stood in the center of the main conference room, surrounded by holographic displays. They want us to beg, she said simply. They want us to apologize for defending our own territory. They want us to destroy our fleet and leave ourselves helpless. What do we do? Asked the president of the European Federation. He looked tired. We cannot fight the entire council. They have thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, technology we barely understand. They think they have technology we barely understand, said Admiral Marcus Stone. He sat near Sarah, his arms crossed over his chest. Stone was an older man with gray hair and scars on his face from the colony wars 30 years ago. They think we are weak. We are weak, said the Chancellor of the Asian Union. Compared to them, we are children playing with toys. No, Sarah said. The word came out hard and sharp. We are not weak. We have been preparing for this moment since the day we joined the council. She pressed a button, and a new set of displays appeared. Charts, numbers, images of weapons and ships that most of the people in the conference had never seen before. For 50 years, Sarah continued, we have been building, while the council races fought each other and made their political games. We have been studying them. We know their technology. We know their tactics. We know their weaknesses. Admiral Stone stood up. The council thinks our defensive stations are just that, defensive. They have no idea what those stations can actually do. They have no idea how many ships we have. They have no idea what we have been doing in the outer colonies. Are you suggesting we fight them? Asked the President of the Americas. That is suicide. Maybe, Sarah said. Or maybe they have been underestimating us this whole time. Maybe they have gotten so comfortable with species obeying them that they have forgotten how to fight a real war. What about the other species? Someone asked. The ones the Council has conquered before. If we fight and lose, the Council will destroy Earth. If we obey, Sarah said, we become slaves. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. The Council does not allow strong species to exist. They break them down piece by piece, until there is nothing left. We have seen it happen to others. It will happen to us. The room went quiet. Everyone knew she was right. For 50 years, Earth had watched as the Council crushed any species that showed too much independence. Some species fought back and were destroyed. Others obeyed and were slowly absorbed into the Council's control, their cultures and identities fading away. So what is your recommendation? Asked the President of the African Coalition. Sarah looked around at all the faces on all the screens. We stay silent. We do not apologize. We do not respond to their demands. We prepare for what comes next. And what comes next? Someone asked. War, Admiral Stone said. They will send their punishment fleet. They will expect us to surrender when we see it. Instead, we will show them what humanity is really capable of. The vote took 3 hours. In the end, it was unanimous. Earth would not respond to the Council's demands. Earth would not apologize. Earth would not beg. The message went out to every human colony, every ship, every station. Actually, no message went out at all. That was the point. Silence. On the Council station, 3 days passed. Thalrex waited for Earth's response. It never came. No apology, no plea for mercy, no communication at all. Perhaps their communication systems are broken, suggested one Council member. No, Thalrex said. He knew better. They are ignoring us. They think they can simply refuse to respond. What do we do? Asked another member. This one from the insect-like krill species. Thalrex stood up tall. His armor plating clicked together. We show them the price of defiance. Activate the punishment fleet. 7 species will contribute ships. We will gather 10,000 warships. We will travel to Earth, and we will make them understand their mistake. The Council chambers filled with clicking and chirping sounds of agreement. The Council had done this before. They knew how it would end. Humanity would see the fleet, realize they had no chance, and surrender. Then the Council would take what they wanted, and humanity would learn to obey. But far away on Earth, in a secret military facility deep underground, Sarah Chen and Admiral Stone watched as the intelligence reports came in. The Council was mobilizing its fleet. How long until they arrive? Sarah asked. 6 weeks, Stone said. They have to gather ships from 7 different species. Then they have to travel here. We have time. Good, Sarah said. Activate Sentinel Protocol. All stations go to battle readiness. Recall all ships to defensive positions. Start moving the civilian population to the underground cities. And the colonies? Asked one of Stone's officers. Tell them to evacuate everything they can. Make it look like we are running scared. Let the Council think we are panicking. Stone smiled. It was not a nice smile. Let them think they have already won. Over the next 6 weeks, something strange happened across human space. Every station went dark. Every colony appeared to be evacuated. Ships that had been patrolling the borders disappeared. To the Council scouts, it looked like humanity was running away. See? Thalrex said to the other Council members. They are cowards. They are hiding. When we arrive at Earth, they will have no choice but to surrender. The punishment fleet grew larger every day. Ships arrived from the Jarok Empire, the Krill Hives, the Torvan clans, and 4 other species. 10,000 warships gathered in space, forming a fleet that could be seen from planets light years away. The fleet commanders were confident. They had done this before. They had crushed rebellions. They had destroyed species that refused to obey. Humanity would be easy. But in the darkness of space, in the empty areas where human colonies used to be, something waited. The defensive stations had not been abandoned. They had just gone silent. Thousands of human ships had not run away. They had just moved into position. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiance, Earth's flagship. Around him, officers worked quietly at their stations. On the main screen, he could see the Council fleet approaching. 10,000 ships moving in perfect formation. "They still think this will be easy," one officer said. "Let them," Stone replied. "It is better this way." On Earth, Sarah Chen stood in the war room surrounded by screens showing the Council fleet's position. Every government leader was watching. Every military commander was ready. "Do we send them a message?" someone asked. "One last chance for peace?" Sarah shook her head. "No, we have been silent this long. We stay silent now. They wanted to see us beg. Instead, they will see what happens when you threaten humanity." In space, the Council fleet crossed into the outer edge of human territory. They passed the first marker where human space officially began. No ships came to meet them. No messages were transmitted. Only silence. "This is strange," one of the fleet commanders said. "Why do they not respond?" "Because they are afraid," Thalrax replied from his command ship. "Continue forward." To Earth, the fleet moved deeper into human space. They passed areas where colonies had been. All empty now. All dark. The Council ships scanned everything looking for threats. They found nothing. "See?" Thalrax said. "There is nothing here. Humanity has run away." But they were wrong. In the darkness, in the cold of space, human weapons watched and waited. The defensive stations tracked every Council ship. The stealth fleet moved silently behind the enemy formation. And on Earth, humanity prepared for the moment that would change the galaxy forever. The Council had ordered humanity to beg for mercy. Earth had stayed silent. Now the Council was about to learn why silence could be the most terrifying sound of all. Admiral Stone checked the tactical display one more time. The Council fleet would be in position in 3 hours. Then the trap would be ready. "All ships," he said quietly into his command channel. "Stand by. Wait for my signal." Across human space, thousands of soldiers and officers heard his words. They waited. They prepared. And they stayed silent. The galaxy was about to change. The Council fleet moved through space like a swarm of metal insects. 10,000 ships, each one carrying weapons that could destroy a city. They traveled in perfect formation, their commanders confident that this mission would be simple. On the bridge of his flagship, Thalrax watched the star maps. Earth was still 2 weeks away. The journey was going exactly as planned. "Any response from the humans yet?" he asked his communication officer. "Nothing, Ambassador. Complete silence." Thalrax clicked his mouthparts together. "Good. They know they cannot win. By the time we reach Earth, they will be ready to surrender." But while the Council fleet moved slowly through space, humanity was moving much faster. Information traveled at the speed of light. Orders were given. Plans were put into action. And deep in the shadows between stars, secrets were being revealed. On Earth, Sarah Chen stood in her office, looking at reports that would shock the galaxy if anyone else saw them. For 50 years, humanity had been building. Not just ships, not just weapons. Something much more important. Knowledge. "Director," said a voice behind her. She turned to see Dr. James Park, head of Earth's Xenotechnology Research Division. He was a thin man with glasses and hands that always seemed to be moving. "The analysis is complete. We know exactly how their ships work now. Every weakness, every flaw." "Show me," Sarah said. Dr. Park pulled up a holographic display. Images of Council ships appeared in the air, rotating slowly. Different parts were marked in red. "The Jarek ships rely on plasma shields," Dr. Park explained. "Very strong against conventional weapons. But they have a fatal flaw. The shields need constant power from the ship's main reactor. If you disrupt the magnetic field that contains the plasma, the shield collapses completely. It takes 3 minutes to restart." 3 minutes, Sarah repeated. "That is enough time. More than enough." Dr. Park agreed. "The Krill ships have a different problem. Their armor is biological. It regenerates damage over time, which makes them hard to destroy with normal weapons. But biological systems have a weakness. Temperature. Drop the temperature fast enough, and the armor becomes brittle. Then it shatters like glass." Sarah nodded slowly. "And the others?" The Torvin ships use quantum entanglement for their faster-than-light drives. We found a way to disrupt the entanglement field. When we do that, their ships cannot jump away. They are trapped. Dr. Park smiled. The Council has been using the same technology for thousands of years. They never bothered to improve it, because no one ever challenged them. They got comfortable. Comfortable species make mistakes, Sarah said. What about our weapons? Are they ready? The gravitational disruptors are online. The quantum entanglement bombs are ready. The evolution viruses are in production. Dr. Park paused. Director, these weapons, some of them are terrifying. Are we sure we want to use them? Sarah looked at him with hard eyes. The Council has destroyed civilizations. They have enslaved species. They have killed billions across the galaxy. Now they come to do the same to us. Yes, Dr. Park, we will use every weapon we have. Dr. Park nodded and left. Sarah turned back to the window. She could see the stars above Earth. Somewhere out there, the Council fleet was coming. They thought they were coming to punish weak humans. They had no idea what was waiting for them. In another part of Earth's military complex, Admiral Stone was meeting with his fleet commanders. The room was filled with men and women in uniform, each one representing a different battle group. Listen carefully, Stone said. The Council thinks we only have a few hundred ships. They think our defensive stations are weak. They are wrong on both counts. We have been building in secret for decades. The shipyards in the outer colonies, the ones we told the Council were for mining operations, have been building warships. A holographic display appeared, showing hundreds of ships, then thousands. The commanders in the room stared. We have 5,000 frontline warships, Stone continued. Each one equipped with technology the Council has never seen. Stealth fields that make us invisible to their sensors. Weapons that can tear apart matter at the molecular level. Shields that adapt to whatever hits them. How did we keep this secret? Asked one commander. Carefully, Stone replied. Every ship was built in sections. Every section was built in a different location. We assembled them in deep space, far from any Council patrol routes. We also had help. Another holographic display appeared. This one showed an alien face. She had blue skin and large dark eyes. Her species was called the Minith. This is Kriya, Stone said. She is part of a resistance movement. The Council conquered her species 300 years ago. They have been slaves ever since. But some Minith never stopped fighting. They have been gathering intelligence for us, sending us information about Council fleet movements, technology specifications, everything we needed. Why would they help us? Someone asked. Because they want to be free, Stone answered. And they know that if humanity falls, no one will ever challenge the Council again. We are their hope. We cannot fail them. The commanders nodded. They understood. What about the defensive stations? Another commander asked. Stone's smile was grim. The Council thinks those stations are just military outposts. They are wrong. Those stations are weapons platforms. Each one carries a gravitational disruptor array. Do you know what happens when you manipulate gravity on a quantum level? You can tear apart anything. Ships, planets, stars. The Council shields cannot stop gravitational weapons, because gravity is not energy. It is the shape of space itself. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what Stone was saying. Humanity had built weapons that could destroy almost anything. When do we activate them? A commander asked. When the Council fleet reaches the Kuiper Belt, Stone replied. That is where we spring the trap. The belt is full of ice and rock. Lots of places to hide weapons platforms. The Council will think they are entering the safe zone. Instead, they will be entering a kill zone. Far from Earth in the darkness between stars, Kriya sat in a small room on a cargo ship. Her hands moved quickly over a datapad sending encrypted messages to Earth. She was taking a terrible risk. If the Council discovered what she was doing, they would kill her. They would kill everyone she knew. But she did not care. Her people had been slaves for 300 years. She had grown up in the labor camps. She had watched her parents die from exhaustion and disease. She had seen children taken from their families and sent to work in the mines. The Council called it service. The Minith called it hell. Then, 50 years ago, the humans arrived. At first, Kriya thought they would be like all the other species in the Council. Arrogant, cruel, uncaring. But the humans were different. They asked questions. They listened. They seemed genuinely interested in the Minith as people, not just as workers. Some humans even tried to help. They pushed for better conditions in the camps. They spoke against the Council's slave system. The Council shut them down, of course. The Council always won. But Kriya remembered. The humans had tried. So when the Resistance asked her to make contact with Earth's intelligence services, she said yes. She began passing information. Fleet compositions, technology data, Council battle plans, everything she could find. Now as the Council fleet moved toward Earth, Kriya sent one final message. The fleet consists of 10,000 ships, 3,000 from the Jirak Empire, 2,000 from the Krill hives, 1,000 from the Torvan clans. The rest are from smaller species. The flagship is the Eternal Victory, commanded by Ambassador Thalrex himself. They expect to reach Earth in 12 days. They expect humanity to surrender immediately. Good luck. She sent the message and destroyed the data pad. Then she sat in the darkness and prayed to God she was not sure existed anymore. Prayed that the humans would win. Prayed that someone finally would break the Council's power. Back on Earth, Sarah received Kriya's message. She read it carefully, then forwarded it to Admiral Stone. 12 days, she said to herself. Not long now. She walked to the window again. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and red. Beautiful. She wondered if the sky would still be beautiful after the battle. She wondered if there would be anyone left to see it. Stop that, she told herself. We will win. We have to. But doubt was always there, whispering in the back of her mind. The Council had thousands of years of experience. They had fought countless wars. They had weapons humanity had never seen. What if the human plans failed? What if all the preparation was not enough? Her phone buzzed. A message from the President of the Americas. The civilian evacuation is complete. 2 billion people are in the underground cities. Food and water supplies will last for 5 years if needed. We are ready. Sarah typed back a simple response. Good. 2 billion people hiding underground, waiting to see if they would have a world to return to. The weight of that responsibility pressed down on Sarah like a physical thing. She had made this decision. She had convinced the governments of Earth to fight instead of surrender. If this went wrong, billions would die. Their blood would be on her hands. But if we surrender, she thought, we die slowly instead of quickly. At least this way we die on our feet. Admiral Stone was thinking similar thoughts. He stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching his crew prepare for battle. They were young, most of them. They had never fought in a real war. They had trained for it, dreamed of it, but never actually done it. In a few days, that would change. Admiral, said his tactical officer, all ships are reporting ready. The stealth fleet is in position. The weapon platforms are armed and waiting. We are ready. Thank you, Lieutenant, Stone said. He looked at the star map. The Council fleet was a red mass, moving toward the blue dot that represented Earth. In 3 days, they would reach the Kuiper Belt. In 3 days, everything would change. Stone thought about his family. His wife had died 10 years ago. His daughter was a shuttle pilot stationed on Mars. She had volunteered to fight despite his protests. Stubborn, just like her mother. He pulled out a small photo from his pocket. His wife and daughter smiling at the camera. He looked at it for a long moment, then put it back. All hands, he said into the ship-wide communication system. This is Admiral Stone. In 3 days we will face the largest fleet the Council has ever assembled. They come here expecting us to surrender. They expect us to beg for mercy. They think we are weak. They are wrong. He paused, letting his words sink in. For 50 years, humanity has prepared for this moment. We have built weapons the Council has never seen. We have trained for battles the Council thinks are impossible. We have one advantage they do not expect. We are not fighting for territory. We are not fighting for resources. We are fighting for our survival, for our freedom, for our future. Another pause. The Council has destroyed civilizations. They have enslaved species. They think they are invincible. In 3 days we are going to prove them wrong. Every human who has ever lived has faced impossible odds. Our ancestors climbed down from trees and conquered a planet. They crossed oceans in wooden boats. They flew to the moon in metal cans. They survived ice ages and diseases and wars. We come from survivors, and we will survive this too. The crew listened in silence. Some had tears in their eyes. Others had hands clenched into fists. When the battle begins, Stone continued, remember this, we are not alone. Across the galaxy, enslaved species are watching us. They are hoping we win. They are praying we succeed. Because if we do, we show them that the Council can be beaten. We give them hope, and hope is the most powerful weapon in the universe. He took a breath. The Council ordered us to beg for mercy. We stayed silent. Now we show them why. All hands to battle stations. In 3 days we changed the galaxy. The crew erupted in cheers. Stone allowed himself a small smile. Then he turned back to the star map. 3 days. That was all the time they had left. 3 days until the Council fleet reached the trap. 3 days until humanity either won its freedom or died trying. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was waiting. And in the cold darkness of space, the pieces were moving into position for the most important battle in human history. The Council was coming, and humanity was ready. The Kuiper Belt was a region of space at the edge of the solar system. It was filled with ice and rock and debris left over from when the planets formed billions of years ago. It was cold. It was dark. It was the perfect place for an ambush. The Council fleet entered the belt 3 days after Admiral Stone's speech. 10,000 warships moved in tight formation, their sensors scanning for threats. They found nothing, just ice and rock and empty space. "This is too easy," said Commander Vector of the Krill Hives. He was speaking to Thalrex over the fleet communication channel. "We have seen no resistance, no ships, no weapons platforms. Where are the humans?" "Hiding," Thalrex replied. "Or perhaps they have run away completely. It does not matter. We continue to Earth." But Vector was not comfortable. He had fought in many battles. He had learned to trust his instincts, and his instincts were telling him something was wrong. "With respect, Ambassador, I request permission to send scouts ahead. Let them check the path forward." Thalrex's eyes narrowed. "Are you afraid, Commander?" "I am cautious," Vector replied. "There is a difference." Thalrex clicked his mouthparts in annoyance, but he gave permission. 6 scout ships broke away from the main fleet and moved forward, scanning everything. On the bridge of the Defiance, hidden by stealth fields that bent light around the ship, Admiral Stone watched the Council fleet approach. He could see the 6 scouts breaking formation. "Smart," he muttered. "Someone over there is thinking." "Should we eliminate the scouts?" asked his tactical officer. "No, let them look. They will not find anything. Not yet." Stone smiled coldly. "Let them think they are safe." The scouts moved through the Kuiper Belt, their sensors on maximum power. They scanned ice rocks. They scanned debris fields. They found exactly what they expected to find. Nothing. "All clear," reported the lead scout to Commander Vector. "No human ships. No weapons platforms. The path is safe." Vector felt his tension ease slightly. Perhaps he had been wrong. Perhaps the humans really had run away. "Very well," he said. "Return to formation." The scouts turned back toward the main fleet. As they did, they passed within 500 meters of a human weapon platform, disguised as a large ice rock. The platform's stealth field kept it invisible. Its sensors tracked the scouts, but did not activate. Not yet. The Council fleet moved deeper into the Kuiper Belt. They were halfway through now. Earth was only a few days away. On the flagship, Thalrex felt satisfaction. The humans had made the right choice. They had recognized that resistance was useless. "Prepare a message for Earth," he ordered. "Tell them that if they surrender now, we will be merciful. They must still dismantle their fleet, but we will not occupy their planet." "Yes, Ambassador," said his communication officer. Thalrex settled back in his command chair. This mission had been easier than expected, perhaps too easy, but he pushed that thought away. Humanity was a young species. They knew when they were beaten. That was his last peaceful thought. Admiral Stone watched the Council fleet position on his tactical display. They were exactly where he wanted them. Surrounded by weapon platforms, in range of the human stealth fleet, trapped. "All ships," he said quietly into the command channel. "Activate weapon systems. Prepare to fire on my mark." Across the Kuiper Belt, hundreds of ice rocks suddenly came alive. Stealth fields dropped. Power signatures spiked. And the Council fleet sensors started screaming warnings. "Contact!" shouted the sensor officer on Thalrex's flagship. "Multiple contacts. Hundreds of them. All around us." Thalrex jumped to his feet. "What? Where did they come from?" "Unknown. They were not there a moment ago." On the Defiance, Stone raised his hand. Then he dropped it. Fire. The universe went white. The weapon platforms fired first. Gravitational disruptors activated, sending invisible waves of twisted space-time toward the Council ships. The effects were immediate and devastating. Council ships began to tear apart. Not from explosions, not from impacts. They simply came apart at the seams. Hulls peeled away like paper. Internal structures collapsed. Shields meant to stop energy weapons could not stop gravity itself. You cannot shield against the shape of space. Where shields are down, someone screamed on the Council communication channels. The shields are not working. 300 Council ships died in the first 10 seconds. Then the human fleet appeared. 5,000 warships dropped their stealth fields all at once. They had been surrounding the Council fleet the entire time, waiting. Now they opened fire. Human weapons were different from Council weapons. The Council used plasma and lasers and missiles. Humanity used quantum entanglement bombs that could bypass shields completely. They used evolution viruses that could rewrite the code of biological ships. They used electromagnetic pulses that could fry every electronic system within a kilometer. The Council fleet tried to fight back. They returned fire with everything they had. Plasma bolts lit up the darkness. Missiles streaked through space. But they were firing at ships they could barely see. Human stealth technology was decades ahead of Council sensor technology. Meanwhile, the human ships could see everything. They knew exactly where every Council ship was. They knew which ones were damaged and which were still dangerous. They struck with surgical precision. Commander Victar watched in horror as his fleet fell apart. In less than 5 minutes, they had lost 1,500 ships. 1,500, and they had destroyed maybe 50 human ships. Maybe. "Fall back!" he shouted. "All ships retreat! Jump to faster than light!" But when his ships tried to activate their quantum drives, nothing happened. The drives would not engage. "What is wrong with the drives?" Victar demanded. "The entanglement fields are disrupted," his engineer replied. "Something is interfering with them. We cannot jump." Victar felt cold fear wash over him. They were trapped. No shields, no faster-than-light drives, and an enemy that could strike from anywhere. This was not a battle. This was a slaughter. On the Defiance, Admiral Stone watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Everything was going exactly as planned. The Council fleet was in chaos. Their formation had broken. Their ships were scattered across the Kuiper Belt, and humanity's weapons were cutting through them like knives through paper. "Admiral," said his communication officer, "we are receiving a transmission from Ambassador Thalrex. Put it through." Thalrex's face appeared on the main screen. He looked terrified. His mouth parts were clicking uncontrollably. "Please," he said. "Please stop. We surrender. We surrender." Stone looked at him coldly. "You came here to make us beg. You came here to make us surrender. You came here to break humanity's spirit." He leaned forward. "How does it feel, Ambassador?" "Please," Thalrex repeated. "We did not know. We did not understand. Please." "Did the other 63 species beg?" Stone asked. "When you came to their worlds with your fleets? When you demanded they surrender? Did they beg?" Thalrex said nothing. He just stared at the screen with his 4 yellow eyes. "I thought so," Stone said. Then he cut the transmission. The battle continued. Human ships hunted Council ships through the Kuiper Belt. It was not honorable. It was not fair. But war is never honorable or fair. War is about survival, and humanity was very good at surviving. 6 hours after the battle began, the Council fleet had lost 4,000 ships, almost half their force. The survivors were trying desperately to regroup, to form some kind of defensive position. But human weapons kept finding them, kept destroying them. On Earth, Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold on the war room screens. She saw the numbers. 4,000 Council ships destroyed, 200 human ships lost. It was a victory, beyond anything she had dared to hope for. But she felt no joy, only a deep, heavy sadness. Thousands of people were dying out there. Yes, they had come to destroy Earth, but they were still people. They had families. They had lives. "This is necessary," said the President of the Americas, standing beside her. "You know that. If we had surrendered, they would have destroyed us eventually. This was the only way." Sarah nodded, but said nothing. She knew he was right. That did not make it easier. In space, the battle began to slow. Not because humanity stopped attacking, but because there were fewer Council ships left to attack. The survivors huddled together, their shields overlapping, trying to protect each other. Admiral Stone considered pressing the attack. He could destroy the entire fleet if he wanted, wipe them out completely, but that would make humanity no better than the Council. "Cease fire," he ordered. "All ships hold position." The human fleet stopped shooting. Silence fell over the battlefield. Broken ships drifted through space. Emergency beacons flashed in the darkness. The smell of death and burning metal filled the cycled air of every ship. Stone activated the wideband communication channel. Every ship in the area would hear this, Council and human alike. "This is Admiral Marcus Stone of the Earth Defense Force. The battle is over. Council fleet, you have two options. Option 1, you surrender. You allow our ships to take you into custody. You will be treated according to the rules of war. Your wounded will receive medical care. Your dead will be returned to their families. You will eventually stand trial for your crimes, but you will be treated fairly." He paused. "Option 2, you continue fighting. If you choose this option, we will destroy you, all of you. There will be no survivors, no prisoners, no mercy." Another pause. "You have 1 hour to decide." On the Council flagship, what was left of the command staff looked at each other. Thalrix sat slumped in his command chair. His armor was scorched. One of his eyes had been damaged by a power surge. "What do we do?" asked one of his officers. Thalrix thought about his empire. The Zarok had ruled their corner of the galaxy for 4,000 years. They had never been defeated, never been humbled. And now, in the span of a few hours, everything had changed. "We surrender," he said quietly. "There is no other choice." "But the Council will." "The Council is finished," Thalrix interrupted. "Do you not see? Humanity has just destroyed the most powerful fleet we could assemble. Every species in the galaxy will hear about this. Every enslaved race will remember this. The Council's power was built on fear, on the belief that we were invincible. That belief is gone now." He stood up slowly, painfully. "Send the message. We surrender." On the Defiance, Admiral Stone received the surrender message. He felt relief wash over him. It was over. Humanity had won. But the relief was mixed with other feelings. Grief for the soldiers who died, anger at the Council for making this necessary, and fear for what came next. Because winning the battle was one thing, changing the galaxy was something else entirely. "Accept their surrender," Stone ordered. "Send medical ships to help their wounded, and prepare prisoner transport vessels." Then he activated his private communication channel to Earth. Sarah Chen's face appeared on the screen. "It is over," he said. "We won." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. Then she opened them again. "No," she said. "It is not over. It is just beginning. The Council will hear about this. The entire galaxy will hear about this. Everything changes now." She was right. At that moment, across hundreds of light years, other Council members were receiving the news. The punishment fleet had been destroyed. Humanity had won. The impossible had happened. And on a small cargo ship, hidden in a forgotten corner of space, Kriya received the message from the human resistance contact. 3 words that made her cry with joy and relief. "We won. Humanity won." She looked around her small room. For the first time in her life, she felt hope. Real hope. Not the desperate, fragile hope that keeps you alive day to day, but real solid hope that things could actually change. The Council had ordered humanity to beg for mercy. Earth had stayed silent. And in that silence, humanity had spoken louder than words ever could. The galaxy would never be the same. The news traveled fast. Faster than the Council wanted. Faster than they could control. Within days, Every species in the galaxy knew what had happened. The Council's punishment fleet, 10,000 ships strong, had been destroyed. Not damaged, not scattered, destroyed. And the species that destroyed them was humanity. Young, weak, supposedly inferior humanity. On the Council homeworlds, governments fell into chaos. How is this possible? How could humans, who had been part of the Council for only 50 years, defeat a fleet that should have been unstoppable? The answer was uncomfortable. Humanity had been underestimated. Badly underestimated. On the Zarok homeworld, the ruling council met in emergency session. Their chambers were filled with shouting and accusations. Some wanted to send another fleet, a larger one. Others wanted to negotiate. Still others wanted to pretend the whole thing never happened. "We must respond," shouted one council member. "If we do nothing, we look weak. We are weak," another one replied. "Did you not read the battle reports? Their weapons tore through our shields like they were not even there. Our ships could not even escape. What do you think a second fleet would accomplish?" The arguing continued for hours, but deep down, they all knew the truth. The Council's power had always been built on a simple idea: obey us or be destroyed. But humanity had not been destroyed. Humanity had won. And if humanity could win, then what did that say about the Council? On Earth, the victory was being celebrated, but Sarah Chen was not celebrating. She stood in the war room, surrounded by screens showing intelligence reports from across the galaxy. What she saw worried her. "The Council is fracturing," said her intelligence chief, a woman named Colonel Martinez. 3 minor species have already declared independence. The Minith Resistance has launched attacks on Council installations. Several other species are considering rebellion. "What about the major Council members?" Sarah asked. "Divided. The Zarak want revenge. The Krill want to negotiate. The Torvin are staying quiet, which probably means they are planning something. And the smaller species are just trying to figure out which side will win." Sarah rubbed her temples. She felt a headache coming on. "This is getting complicated." "It was always going to be complicated," Martinez replied. "You cannot destroy the most powerful fleet in the galaxy and expect things to stay simple." Sarah knew she was right. But knowing something intellectually and dealing with it emotionally were two different things. She had pushed Earth to fight because surrender meant slow death. But she had not expected to win so decisively. She had not expected the entire galactic order to come crashing down. "What about the prisoners?" Sarah asked. "We are holding them on Luna. 6,000 Council soldiers and officers, including Ambassador Thal, resisted," Thalrex corrected. "Hundreds more simply obeyed. They are still part of the Council, still following our rules, still weak." He looked at Sarah with his 3 remaining eyes. "You are the first species to fight back and win. Do you understand what that means? It means the system is broken. It means the system is finished," Thalrex said. "Every enslaved species in the galaxy just learned that the Council can be beaten. They will rise up. They will fight. And the Council cannot stop them all. Not anymore. You have started a revolution, Director Chen, whether you wanted to or not." Sarah sat back. She had known this intellectually, but hearing it from Thalrex made it real. "What happens now?" she asked. "That depends on you," Thalrex replied. "Humanity has 2 choices. You can become the new Council, take our place, rule the galaxy through fear like we did. Or you can try to build something different, something better. And which do you think we will choose?" Thalrex's mouth parts moved in what might have been a smile. "I think you will try to build something better, and I think you will fail, because the galaxy is too big, too complicated, too full of species that hate each other. Peace is impossible. Order requires force. You will learn that." "Maybe," Sarah said. "Or maybe you are wrong. Maybe peace is possible if it is built on respect instead of fear. We will see," Thalrex said. "I suspect I will be dead before we find out." "When does my trial begin?" "Soon," Sarah said. She stood up. "Thank you for your honesty, Ambassador. I have nothing left to lose," Thalrex replied. "Honesty is easy when you have already lost everything." Sarah left the room, feeling troubled. Thalrex's words kept echoing in her mind. "You have started a revolution." The question was, could humanity finish it? While Sarah was talking to Thal Rex, Admiral Stone was dealing with a different problem. The council prisoners were asking for something. They wanted to send messages to their families, to let them know they were alive. "Should we allow it?" asked one of Stone's officers. Stone thought about it. The council would not have allowed such messages. The council would have kept the prisoners isolated. But humanity was trying to be better than the council. "Allow it," Stone said. "Let them send messages, but monitor everything. Make sure they are not sending coded military information." The messages went out. Thousands of them. Council soldiers writing to their families, telling them they were alive, telling them they were being treated well, telling them about the humans who had captured them. One of those messages was from Commander Vector. He wrote to his hive mother, telling her about the battle, about how the humans had outfought them, about how the humans could have killed all the prisoners but chose mercy instead. "They are not what we expected," he wrote. "They are fierce in battle, but kind in victory. The council told us humans were savages, but I have seen more honor in this prison camp than I saw in 20 years of council service. I do not know what will happen now, but I think the humans are not our enemies. I think the council made us enemies when we should have been friends." His hive mother received the message. She read it 3 times. Then she shared it with others in the hive. They shared it with more, and slowly, quietly, opinions began to change. This was happening across the galaxy. The prisoners' messages were spreading, and they were all saying the same thing. The humans were not monsters. The humans had won fairly. The humans were showing mercy. It was not what people expected, and it was changing minds. On Earth, Sarah gathered the governments for another meeting. This time, the topic was not war, it was peace. "The council is breaking apart," she told them. "Species are declaring independence. Rebellions are starting, and everyone is looking to us for guidance. They want to know what comes next." "What do we tell them?" asked the president of the Asian Union. "We tell them we want to build something new," Sarah replied. "Not a council where a few species rule over everyone else, but a true alliance, where every species has an equal voice, where decisions are made by consensus, not force." "That sounds nice," said the Chancellor of the European Federation. "But is it realistic? How do you get hundreds of species with different cultures and needs to agree on anything?" "Carefully," Sarah said, "and with a lot of patience. But the alternative is worse. If we do nothing, the galaxy descends into chaos. Species will fight each other for dominance. Millions will die. Or we can try to organize something peaceful. It will be hard. It will take time, but it is possible." "What about the council members?" someone asked. "The ones who ordered the atrocities? What do we do with them?" "We hold trials," Sarah said. "Real trials, with real evidence and real justice. We show the galaxy that we are serious about accountability, that no one is above the law, not even us." The vote was not unanimous this time. Some governments wanted to be harsher, others wanted to be more lenient. But in the end, they agreed to try Sarah's approach. 1 week after the battle, Sarah made a broadcast to the entire galaxy. Every species with communication technology received it. Every planet, every station, every ship. She spoke simply and clearly. "My name is Director Sarah Chen of Earth. 1 week ago, humanity fought and won a battle against the Council Punishment Fleet. We did not want this war. We were forced into it. But now that it is over, we must decide what comes next." She paused. "For thousands of years, the Galactic Council has ruled through fear and force. They told species what they could and could not do. They crushed independence. They punished innovation. They built an empire on the suffering of others. This cannot continue." Another pause. "But humanity does not want to replace the Council. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We want something different. We want a galaxy where every species is free to grow and develop, where cooperation is voluntary, not forced, where the strong help the weak instead of exploiting them." She looked directly at the camera. "We invite all species to join us in building a new alliance, not based on fear, but on respect, not based on force, but on mutual benefit. We call this the Accord of Free Worlds. Every species will have an equal voice. Every species will be protected, and no species will be enslaved ever again." She held up a data chip. We have evidence of council crimes. Thousands of files documenting atrocities committed over centuries. We will release this evidence, and we will hold trials for those responsible. Not revenge, justice. Real justice with real courts and real laws. Final pause. The galaxy is changing. We can change it together, peacefully, or we can descend into chaos. The choice is ours. Earth chooses peace. Earth chooses freedom. Earth chooses hope. We invite you to choose the same. The broadcast ended. For a moment, the galaxy was silent. Then the responses started coming in. The Minith were the first. Kriya herself sent the message on behalf of her entire species. We stand with humanity. We join the accord of free worlds. Then came others. Small species. Enslaved species. Species that had been waiting for someone to stand up to the council. They joined the accord. The major council species remained silent, but their silence spoke volumes. They were waiting, watching, trying to decide if they should fight or negotiate. On Luna, Ambassador Thalrax watched Sarah's broadcast in his cell. When it ended, he laughed. "Idealistic fools," he muttered. "They have no idea how hard this will be." But deep down, in a place he had forgotten existed, he felt something. It was not quite hope, but it was close. Maybe, he thought, just maybe, they can actually do this. The galaxy was changing, the old order was dying, and humanity was building something new, something that had never existed before. A galaxy built on freedom instead of fear. It would not be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. 3 months had passed since the battle. 3 months since Sarah Chen's broadcast to the galaxy. 3 months since everything changed. The galaxy was not peaceful. Not yet, but it was different. Sarah stood at a window on the new diplomatic station humanity had built in neutral space. The station was called Unity, and it was where the Accord of Free Worlds held its meetings. Through the window, she could see dozens of ships from dozens of species, all here to be part of something new. "Director Chen," said a voice behind her. She turned to see Kriya approaching. The Minith representative had become a friend over the past months. They had worked together almost every day building the framework for the Accord. "Just Sarah," she said, smiling. "We are not doing titles anymore, remember?" Kriya smiled back. Her species expressed emotion differently than humans, but Sarah had learned to read the signs. Kriya was happy and tired, very tired. "The council meeting starts in an hour," Kriya said. "Are you ready?" "As ready as I can be," Sarah replied. "Are they here?" "They arrived this morning." "All 3 of them?" Sarah nodded. Today was important. Today, representatives from the Zark, the Krill, and the Torvin would attend their first Accord meeting. The 3 major council species, the ones who had ruled the galaxy for so long. They were not joining the Accord. Not yet. But they were talking. That was progress. The meeting room was circular, with seats arranged so that every representative could see every other representative. No one sat higher than anyone else. No one was at the head of the table. That had been Sarah's idea. In the Accord, there were no leaders, only equals. Representatives from 47 species filled the room. Some Sarah recognized, others she was still learning about. The galaxy was much bigger and more complicated than she had ever imagined. At exactly the appointed time, the 3 council representatives entered. Sarah watched them carefully. The Zark representative was not Thalrax. Thalrax was still in prison awaiting trial. Instead, they had sent a younger ambassador named Sekthar. He moved stiffly, his armor plates clicking with discomfort. Being here was humiliating for him. Sarah understood that. The Krill representative was a female named Zixara. She was smaller than Commander Vectoru, but radiated authority. Her multifaceted eyes scanned the room constantly, evaluating, calculating. The Torvin representative surprised everyone. It was their first speaker, the closest thing they had to a head of state. That he came personally showed how seriously they were taking this. The 3 council representatives took their seats. The room fell silent. Everyone was watching to see what would happen. Sarah stood. As the person who had called the meeting, it was her job to begin. "Welcome," she said simply. "Thank you for coming. I know this is difficult for all of us. 3 months ago we were enemies. Today we sit together. That is progress. She paused, looking around the room. The Accord of Free Worlds is still new. We are still learning how to work together. We are still making mistakes. But we are trying to build something that has never existed before. A galaxy where every species is free. Where the strong do not exploit the weak. Where cooperation is based on mutual respect, not fear. She turned to the 3 council representatives. We invited you here because we want you to be part of this. Not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as equals. The Zark, the Krill, and the Torvin have knowledge and experience that could help us all, if you are willing to share it, if you are willing to change. Sekthar stood. His voice was stiff and formal. The Zark Empire does not accept your premise. We ruled the galaxy because we were qualified to rule, because we brought order to chaos. What you call oppression, we call stability. Murmurs ran through the room. Some species looked angry, others looked afraid. Sarah held up her hand for silence. You ruled through fear, she said calmly. You destroyed species who would not obey. You enslaved races you considered inferior. You made peace impossible because you demanded submission instead of cooperation. And now, the galaxy is descending into chaos, Sekthar replied. Without the Council's authority, species are fighting each other. Resources are being wasted. Lives are being lost. Is this your idea of progress? It is growing pains, Sarah said. Freedom is messy. Democracy is complicated. But slavery is worse. And that is what you offered. Slavery dressed up as order. You speak of slavery, Sekthar said, his voice rising. But what about your own history? Did humanity not enslave its own people for thousands of years? Did you not fight wars over resources and territory? Do you not still have inequality and injustice? How dare you judge us when your own species is so flawed? Sarah felt anger flash through her, but she kept her voice calm. You are right. Humanity has a terrible history. We have done horrible things. But we learned. We grew. We changed. That is what makes us different from the Council. We admitted our mistakes. We tried to fix them. You just kept making the same mistakes for 4,000 years. She looked around the room. Every species here has a dark past. Every civilization has committed atrocities. The question is not whether we have been perfect. The question is whether we can be better, whether we can learn from our mistakes and build something good. Zixara, the Krill representative, stood. Logical, she said. The Krill were known for being analytical, but idealism does not feed populations. It does not protect borders. It does not solve resource conflicts. The Council maintained peace through strength. What does the Accord offer instead? Cooperation, said Kriya, standing. Trade, mutual defense. Species helping each other instead of fighting each other. And when 2 species both claim the same resource, Zixara asked, when their interests conflict, who decides? We do, Sarah said. All of us together. We talk. We negotiate. We find compromises. We use arbitration and mediation. We follow laws that we all agreed to. And if that fails, Zixara pressed. Then we keep trying, Sarah replied. Because the alternative is war. And war benefits no one. The Torvin first speaker stood. He was an elderly being, his scales gray with age. When he spoke, his voice was soft, but carried weight. I have lived for 200 years, he said. I have seen the Council at its height. I have seen its decline. I have seen humanity defeat what should have been an invincible fleet. And I have seen what has happened since. He paused, gathering his thoughts. The galaxy is changing. This is undeniable. The question is not whether it will change, but how. The Council's way is ending. We can fight this truth, or we can accept it. I am old. I am tired. And I have spent too many years maintaining a system that perhaps should have ended long ago. Gasps ran through the room. No Council member had ever spoken like this before. I came here today, the first speaker continued, to see what humanity is building, to see if this accord is real, or just pretty words. And I see possibility. I see species working together who would never have spoken to each other under Council rule. I see former slaves sitting as equals with their former masters. I see hope. He turned to Sekthar and Zixara. The Zark and the Krill want to preserve the old ways, but the old ways are dying. We can die with them, Or we can adapt. I choose to adapt. The Torvin will join the Accord of Free Worlds. The room exploded. Representatives shouted in joy or shock. Sekthar looked furious. Zixara looked calculating. Sarah felt tears in her eyes, but blinked them away. The first speaker raised his hand for silence. I have conditions. The Torvin will not disarm completely. We maintain defensive forces. We will not accept blame for all council actions. Some species were willing participants in the system, and we want representation on the Accord Tribunal that will judge council crimes. We will face justice, but it will be fair justice. Agreed, Sarah said immediately. Those terms are reasonable. Sekthar stood abruptly. The Jarek Empire will not be part of this farce. We maintain that the council was justified in its actions. We will not apologize for bringing order to the galaxy. He turned to leave. Ambassador Sekthar, Sarah said. He stopped, but did not turn around. Your government sent you here. That means some Jareks want peace. Maybe not all of your people agree with you. Maybe you should listen to them. Sekthar said nothing. He simply walked out. But Sarah noticed that he did not slam the door. That was something. Sekthar remained standing, her multifaceted eyes fixed on Sarah. The Krill will consider what we have seen here today. We make no promises, but we will continue to attend these meetings. We will observe, and perhaps in time, we will decide. She sat down. It was not a victory, but it was not a defeat either. Sarah would take it. The meeting continued for hours. They discussed trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, resource sharing, humanitarian aid for species damaged by council rule. It was complicated and exhausting, and sometimes frustrating, but it was working. Slowly, imperfectly, but working. That evening, Sarah and Admiral Stone stood together on the observation deck of Unity Station. They watched the stars in comfortable silence. We did it, Stone said quietly. We actually did it. We survived, Sarah corrected. That is not the same as winning. It is close enough, Sarah smiled. The trials start next week. Thalrax and 47 other council leaders will face justice for their crimes. Are you worried? Stone asked. Yes, Sarah admitted. If we are too harsh, we make martyrs. If we are too lenient, we make a mockery of justice. We need to get this right. We will, Stone said, because we have to. The galaxy is watching. They stood in silence for a moment. Do you ever think about what would have happened if we had surrendered? Sarah asked. If we had begged for mercy like they demanded? Sometimes, Stone admitted. We would probably be slowly dying, losing our independence piece by piece. But we would be alive. Would we though? Sarah asked. A life without freedom is not really living. No, Stone agreed. It is not. Far away on Luna, in his prison cell, Thalrax sat alone. He had heard about the Torvin joining the Accord. He had heard about the trials starting soon. He was not afraid of death. He was old. He had lived long enough. But he was afraid of being forgotten, of his empire being remembered only as villains in someone else's story. A human guard brought him his evening meal. The guard was young, barely more than a child by Jarak standards. Thank you, Thalrax said. The guard looked surprised. Thalrax had never thanked anyone before, but lately he had been thinking about things differently, about how the council had ruled, about how humanity was trying to rule. Can I ask you something? Thalrax said. The guard hesitated, then nodded. Why do you treat us well? The prisoners. We came to destroy your world. We would have killed you all if we could. Why show us mercy? The guard thought about it. Because that is what makes us different from the council. You ruled through fear. We want to rule through respect, even for our enemies. That seems weak, Thalrax said. Maybe, the guard replied. Or maybe it is the strongest thing we can do. Showing mercy when we could show cruelty. Building when we could destroy. Hoping when we could hate. The guard left. Thalrax sat with his meal thinking. Perhaps, he thought, perhaps humanity understands something we never did. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, people were having similar thoughts. The old order was dying. A new one was being born. It was not perfect. It would never be perfect, but it was better, and sometimes better is enough. On Earth, in a small apartment, A young girl was studying galactic history. She was learning about the Council, about the war, about how humanity won. "Mama?" she asked. "Why did the Council order us to beg for mercy?" Her mother thought carefully. "Because they thought we were weak. They thought fear would make us obey. But we did not obey," the girl said. "No," her mother agreed. "We stayed silent. And in that silence we showed them who we really are." "What did we show them?" the girl asked. Her mother smiled. "That humanity does not beg. Humanity survives. Humanity fights. And when humanity wins, we build something better than what came before." The girl thought about this. Then she went back to her studies. She had a lot to learn. The galaxy was big, and she wanted to understand all of it. On Unity Station, Sarah stood at the window again. Kriya joined her. "Do you think it will last?" Kriya asked. "The Accord? Or will it fall apart like the Council did?" "I do not know," Sarah said honestly. "Maybe it will fail. Maybe in 100 years someone else will be trying to fix our mistakes. But we have to try. Because the alternative is giving up. And humanity never gives up." Kriya nodded. "Neither do the Minith. We were slaves for 300 years, but we never stopped hoping. Never stopped fighting. You gave us the chance to be free. We will not waste it." Sarah smiled. "We will do this together, all of us. And maybe, just maybe, we will build something that lasts." Below them, ships from dozens of species moved in orbit, trading, talking, learning to work together. It was messy. It was complicated, but it was real. The Council had ordered humanity to beg for mercy. Earth had stayed silent. And in that silence, humanity had spoken louder than any words could express. They had said, "We will not kneel. We will not surrender. We will not give up our freedom." And the galaxy had heard them. The galaxy had changed, and it would never be the same again.